What up? What up? What up?
Woo!
It's your boy Joey Be Nice, aka Mr. Williamson. How y'all doing today?
And it's me, KD, Mrs. Williamson.
And we're back with another movie review. We've been telling you that we were going to do The Best Man for about a couple of weeks now, I think. My bad. That's my fault.
That's all right. But now it's finally here.
Now it's here, and we're going to go over like some of the famous moments and like some of our favorite moments
Yes.
in the movie, and talk about some of the quotes in the movie and how it relates to like real life. That movie was pretty deep. It was pretty deep, and there was a lot to learn from it, I think. So we're going to be discussing that and having some fun with it.
That's right. Chopping it up.
Chopping it up a little bit.
That's right.
So, for those of you who have not seen the movie,
Who is that exactly?
exactly right, everybody should have saw.
In the
Saw.
comments. In the comments, if you think you've seen it less than 20 times, put it in the comments.
Yeah,
If you think you've seen it less than 20, and I think I've seen it more than 20. In fact, I had it queued up. It's on Netflix right now. Anyone
Right.
who hasn't seen it or seen it at least
and if you
5 or more times, it's on Netflix right now, and it's showing up like on what's popular. So,
and if you haven't seen it, we're going to yank your card. So,
ooh, say it,
So,
tell it. He's right.
great movie, great cast, all-star cast as far as I'm concerned. Let's talk about some of the people that were in the movie.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. One of the main characters is Tay Diggs.
Tay Diggs.
A lot of the movie,
Tay
he
Diggs.
actually, because I just saw it, it starts out with his character out the gate. I kind of forgot that. Tay Diggs plays Harper. Morris Chestnut plays Lance.
Lance, and can you hurry up and get to Nia Long? Nia Long was in the movie. I'm sorry. That's Nia right there. Hey, Nia.
Wow.
Sorry, Nia. Hold on.
Wow. Okay. See,
Sorry.
We've been through this, right? Yeah. Could you put on a silent so if
Yes,
keeps-
she's waiting.
if
She's
she
listening,
keeps
matter of
calling or
fact.
texting. Okay.
Hey, Nia.
So, wow. Actually, two of his faves are in this
Two of my
movie, so let me get into it. Nia Long plays Jordan.
Nia Long.
Terrence Howard
Terrence Howard.
plays Quentin.
That's my guy.
Here
Yep.
comes his second girl, Sanaa Lathan.
Sanaa Lathan. Yes. Love and Basketball. Great movie. We'll definitely be talking about that one, too.
We know Sanaa Lathan plays Robin.
Yes.
Harold Perrineau, I think is the last name.
That's
He
correct.
plays Julian.
Yes.
Melissa DeSosa plays Shelby. Monica Calhoun plays Mia.
Great cast.
And Regina Hall. Don't sleep on Regina Hall.
Regina
Hall
Hall.
plays Candy in this
Yes,
movie. So,
yes. Very
I
funny
mean,
lady.
top notch crew in this movie.
Top
Straight up.
notch, top
Straight
notch.
up. And remember, it's 1999.
Yes.
And so the names I just named are still relevant today.
Are still relevant.
Number one.
Yes.
And then back then, all-star cast.
All-star cast.
All-star cast.
So, yeah, a little bit about the movie. Tay Diggs plays Harper Stewart. He's one of the lead characters. He is a book writer, and he writes a book, and it kind of he disguises in the book something that happened back in college.
Not really well. He doesn't disguise it well enough.
Not very well. So they all get together for Lance's wedding. The two characters in the movie, they're getting married, so the old gang gets together to meet up for the wedding and celebrate. And during this time, this big secret comes out, and there's just like a volcano eruption. There's just so much going on. But again, we chose to talk about this movie because it relates to real life, to be honest with you. I think all of us have been in one of the moments that occurs in the movie. Whether that's Quentin, the playboy who just can't commit to women and just, is just living his life free, or is Harper, who is more serious, trying to establish himself, or Lance, the guy who's like the superstar of the group, gets all the attention. All the ladies love him. Jordan, the overachiever, the very ambitious young lady who strives for perfection. All of these characters, I personally, I can point out a person that I know that represents one of these characters.
Definitely.
So we chose to talk about this movie, and there's some fun parts in the movie, and there's some serious parts in the movie, but we chose a few things out of the movie to talk about because we feel like it relates to relationships in real life. So that's where we are with it. The Best Man debuted in 1999, a long time ago, but we still watch this movie to this day.
Oh yeah.
So let's get started.
Before we get started,
yes, ma'am.
Interesting. So this is only our second movie review.
Second one.
The first one was Love Jones,
of
course,
Jones.
Also a classic, but also Nia Long.
Nia Long, yeah.
And now we're on our second movie review.
She's fabulous. She's
and
great.
Also,
she's just
the movie has Nia Long.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Connecting the dots.
Yeah. Hey, it's Nia Long. What can you say? So let's get started. And what's so funny about this movie? Let me give you guys a little insight. Kim and I have been together now for 9 years?
Yes.
9 years. And believe it or not, our first date was supposed to be, guess where? At a wedding reception. And guess what? I didn't show up. So, but we know how this turns out.
Well,
because we're together for 9 years.
And not he and Nia.
So,
wow.
I bring that up because I want you guys to think about this. Do you think having your first date at a wedding reception is a good idea?
Okay.
Do you think that's a good idea? Because this leads into one of the quotes from the movie that I found to be very funny, but I also want to ask this question, do you think that is true? And this quote comes from Quentin, Terrence Howard's character, the playboy of the group.
Yep.
And the quote that he gave in the movie, his line, and I'm gonna say it for the most part. There's a little something in there I'm gonna kind of improvise on, but it kind of goes like this. He's talking to one of the guys, and his response is, "You know how many single honeys be at weddings? It's about to be a oasis, but there's ho 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 at the beginning of that. But it's about to be an oasis. I'm in that baby, honey." So what I want to ask is, Quentin believes that at wedding receptions there's nothing but single women there. It's a good place to go and meet women. Do you guys think that wedding receptions are a good place to meet someone, or get your groove on at a wedding reception? Me personally, I did not want to have a first date at a wedding reception. I felt like that was too much pressure. You've got nothing but wedding all around you, and on a first date, you don't want to be talking about. We were
going to meet at a wedding reception.
Yes, we were going to meet at a wedding reception.
No, at that point, no, we hadn't
talked
on the phone. Nope. So the ultimate matchmaker, the matchmaker that connected us. Yes, we were going to meet at a wedding.
Yes, we were going to meet at a wedding reception.
Both people agreed.
Yes.
Meaning these two both. We thought we were. But again, we hadn't even talked on the phone yet at that point. We were supposed to meet at the wedding reception.
And I had to do a lot of begging and apologizing and everything else, and that worked out. But once again,
after the fact that he didn't show up, let's
after the fact.
After the fact that he didn't show up at the wedding reception, I still had a blast.
I'll take the onus.
It was so fun.
It
was a great wedding reception.
It was a great wedding reception. I heard all about it.
Yeah, okay, you heard all about it.
So
okay, as someone that was there.
Okay. Yes, but again, when this is
No,
over.
but I like the quote though. Honestly,
Yeah.
we were
Yeah.
supposed to meet, and Quentin is really coming from the perspective of when you attended and you're going there to, and he's saying, I mean, that it's definitely a place for a lot of single women. So
Yes.
that's a great quote. So what do you
Yes.
think about that, guys? Guys and girls, what do you think about when you go to a wedding reception? Are there a lot of,
Yeah, is it a market?
is it an oasis of what you're interested in, right? So
Right.
in his example,
Right.
it was the ladies. In our example, ladies is the fellas.
Yes.
So is that a good place to meet somebody? Does that even make us think, oh, they're at a wedding?
Yes.
Maybe they like weddings. Maybe they'll want a wedding one day, you know?
Yeah.
Is it just fun? I mean, at weddings, you know there's going to be dancing.
Yeah.
You know there's going to be food.
Free food, dancing. It's a cheap date.
Look, it's not free.
It's free for me.
Well,
But
the attendees, but we all know
yeah, but I'm just saying.
somebody paid. A lot.
In
Yes.
general, would you go out on a first date to a wedding reception?
Gotcha. It is.
Would you?
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. I think it's a lot of pressure.
Okay. So, one of your quotes?
Actually, you go on with your next quote, babe,
Okay.
and I'm actually going to come from a different perspective instead of quote.
All right. All
Okay.
right. Sounds good. Well,
Changing
the
it
next
up.
one.
Changing it up.
Yeah,
right,
she
right on.
she did an audible. She did an audible.
I did. 1
So-
2 1 2.
Yeah, I put everything together and now she changed it. But anyway, my next quote comes from Harper Stewart. That's Taye Diggs' character. This part of the movie is towards the end. Everything has erupted and kind of gotten back, but there's one more issue that needs to be taken care of, and that's Harper Stewart and his girlfriend Robin. And there's a part where he comes in and he says, "You know what your problem is? You don't live enough for today." And she says, "What?" And Harper says, "For once, just live in the moment, at least for a little while. Will you marry me?" I thought that was great because
Wow.
I don't think that we live in the moment enough. I think as couples, you tend to miss certain key moments. And whether that's being too busy with work, with just life in general, raising kids, trying to keep food on the table, careers, whatever it may be. I guarantee if you look back over time, there were some moments that happened where you kind of feel like, I didn't take advantage of that moment.
Okay.
Did not take advantage of that. So I think just we as people, we need to learn how to live in the moment because tomorrow's not promised. So when there are opportunities, when there are moments, when you have that moment to say a kind word to someone that you might admire from far away, go up and speak to the person. Hey, how you doing? Take advantage of the moment, live in the moment. I just think we don't do that enough. So
Right.
I thought that was a very key moment in the movie. And he got on one knee and asked her to marry him, and she said yes. So he took advantage of the moment and asked her to join in that moment with him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was pretty key.
Yeah. Did she end up saying like whatever? Yeah, whatever, man, because that was something that he said earlier in the movie.
No, she kind of got taken back a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Took a deep breath. What are you
a lot
doing?
of things had happened at that point.
Yeah, a lot of things that had happened.
He
and-
kind of had to jump on that opportunity,
Right.
Because remember he had messed
Right.
up a lot.
Right. She was on her way out the door. She
Definitely.
found out about
Definitely.
Jordan, and she thought Jordan was a big problem and everything, and he had to prove to her that no, it's not about Jordan. That
Yeah.
was something that was in college and living out a fantasy that's really not there. I want to be with you. So, yeah, live in the moment. Let's live in the moment just for a little while. So
Yeah.
just for right now, will you marry me?
Right.
So yeah, we got to learn how to live in the moment.
Yes,
As people, especially as couples, take that time and slow down and recognize when the moments happen. sometimes we don't even recognize it. And, the other person gets a little upset. They may be trying to create moments for you to take advantage of. And once again, you're so caught up in just life itself and raising the kids and work and whatever the case may be. I know I've missed plenty of moments, and I've reflected and looked back on it, and wish I could get it back, the opportunity. But as we all know, for me, time is the most valuable thing
Yep.
that you can have, and because you can't get it back once it's gone, you can't get it back. So,
Right.
if you don't take anything else from this, learn how to live in the moment. Learn how to take advantage of what's presented to you,
Yeah.
especially as a couple.
Yeah.
Especially as a
Definitely.
couple.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's my take.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna come from a couple of different. I love. I mean, love this movie. I do think I've seen it more times than Love Jones, but I would say Best Man and Love Jones are probably, I know, probably tied for my two favorite all time movies, especially in this genre.
1A and 1B.
Yeah, 1A and 1B. And this one I think I've seen even more because it's something that it's so lighthearted. It's so
Yes.
much about relationships. And that's just when a couple weeks ago when we first said we were going to do The Best Man, I started writing down, I wrote down the characters' names, and then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it's about college friends reconnecting
Yes.
for a friend's wedding.
Yeah.
But something else becomes the focus. And it's kind of Harper's book, but it's
Yes.
also the relationships that become the focus. And just think, there's eight of them that are friends from college.
Yes.
And it's like, even that, I mean, think about people that you've known at this stage, for some of the younger crew, even if you've known people 15 plus years. For some of us, have you known people from your early 20s, whether it's your college years or just your young 20s? From where I sit, that's over 25 years. And so,
Yeah.
imagine 8 friends, and you can tell, and as the story very quickly unfolds,
Yeah.
they were all really good friends. I mean, especially Lance and Harper. I mean, that's one of the biggest. I wrote down relationships early on when we were first going to start doing this, and I'm like, man, okay, of course, well, they come together for a wedding. Whose wedding? Lance and Mia. Okay,
Right.
and then we find out that there's Harper, who's Tay Diggs.
Yes.
It's Harper and Jordan.
Yes.
And they're kind of reliving something from the past or trying to pick up from the past. There's Harper and Robin, his current babe.
Well, they're
right?
trying to pick up on something that almost happened but didn't.
Absolutely.
They almost slept together in college,
Right.
and it didn't happen, which goes back to a moment. Jordan's trying to recapture
Absolutely.
that
That's right.
moment,
That's right.
but unfortunately, she's trying to recapture it at Lance's big time.
That's right.
And Harper has a girlfriend,
That's right.
so it's kind of a disrespect thing. But for her, she doesn't care because remember, she's the TV producer, very ambitious, very outgoing.
Right.
And that leads into her personal life. So she really doesn't care. She wants the moment. And I think there's a line in the movie where she actually mentions moment. Like, we had a moment, we
Yeah.
missed it.
Yeah.
I want that moment back.
Right.
Which also raises another question. This is, again, why we talked about this movie, because there's so many different
so many
avenues
aspects. Oh man.
that you can go. Where do you think of an actual moment that you did miss that you regret
Mm-mm.
right now, even being in a relationship? It could be an old boyfriend, girlfriend, just an old acquaintance, and you kind of think back, and and we all have a past, so just being lighthearted. But
Right. Right.
I still remember my 5th grade girlfriend, which was my very first kiss, and we were in the alley in back of the house, and we were by the garage, and we kissed for the
9
first
years
time.
in, I think it's the first time I've heard this story.
Yeah, 5th grade. 5th grade.
Wow.
And her name was Renee. Renee.
Renee, are you
Walker.
watching?
Renee Walker.
Oh, first name,
Renee.
last name.
If
Wow.
if you're watching, Renee. If you're
Renee, if you're watching.
If you're watching. Hey. Remember when I used to bounce the basketball in front of your house? And yeah, but
Wow.
Renee Walker, that was a moment. That was a moment in the
Wow.
fifth grade. He was almost out. He was almost out.
Wow. Renee almost knocked me out. Would you have met Renee at the wedding reception? Okay, I digress. I digress. Okay. Anyway, the relationships. I was saying Harper and Jordan, Harper and Robin. There's Julian and Shelby. So, Shelby's character is, you can't sleep on her either. She's definitely adds a lot of spice to it.
Yes.
And again, I was kind of rewatching it earlier today just to, kind of get back on it. And when they're like, "Hi, Shelby," because she's like, and Terrence Howard's character Quentin is just like, "Here we go,"
Here we
and she
go.
starts putting the guilt on Julian. So
Yeah.
there's Julian and Shelby, but then later Julian is feeling Regina Hall's character, right? Candy, and
Yes.
so and then there's the relationship from the past and what was really talked about in the book. And then, so I wrote down relationships, but one of the biggest relationships in the movie is also, it's not just male and female relationships, it's their friendships. I mean,
Yes.
Lance and Harper, the movie really is about Lance and Harper. I mean, it's about, like you said, I mean, you could look at this movie 1,000 ways, and that's what I love about it. But it's a relationship between two college buddies. And now years later, and now, I mean, there's all kind of questions you could ask. What makes Harper write this book this many years later and
Yes.
barely change? All he did was change the names. And then what? Lance was a football star in the movie, and I
Mhm.
think he changed him to a basketball star in the book. And he kind of, because there's a part where he says that, "I'm glad you changed that, man. This
Yeah.
man really did a lot of stuff," right? Maybe he uses some colorful words. And
Well, it
so,
does make for a great book. What you have to try and figure out is this Harper's way of releasing
oh,
the guilt
okay,
by
okay,
writing the
okay.
book,
Good point.
or did he just think of it as, hey, this, I need this book. This will make a great book, and wasn't thinking about that. It just happened to make for great material.
Yeah.
I personally think it was a mix of both.
Mhm.
It's
That's a good
something that
point.
he kind of
Good point.
carried with him
Yep.
throughout the years, and always in the back of his mind hoped that it would never come out, but also thinking, man, this is great material for a book, and I need this right now. I need this book.
Yeah. That's right.
So, I'm sure everybody that's looking at this right now or listening to it, I'm sure you have a book that you can write, or you have a movie uh, uh, that would be
Yes.
very good about your life. I know I've lived a pretty good one, and yeah, I could write a few books.
And of course, you want Nia Long to play the love interest.
Well, I could talk to her. I think I would have a role for her, but yeah, I think
Wow.
everybody has a book that they could write about their past, about a loved one, or about a time period in their life.
Yeah.
Uh,
Definitely.
I'm an '80s baby. So the '80s and the '90s. For those of you that know about Piccadillys and games people
Oh.
play, and there was a time where you went out to the club, and you were sure to meet somebody over the weekend, and
Woo.
you did
Talk
your
about it.
thing, and but we all have a story. So I think Harper just had a story to tell,
Yeah.
and he didn't mean any harm by it, but it just made for good
He
material.
he made it a little too real though, and I mean the timing of it. And then yes, I mean okay, the book kind of goes from one friend to another when it's really not supposed to, and then of course Lance gets his hands on it. But there were too many things in there, like he changed the names, but then the forehead kiss. And see, one of my favorite scenes is when the fellas are walking, um, either to go get their tuxes or from getting fitted for the tuxes, and they start talking about, yeah, man, you had that forehead kiss, and it's
Yeah.
like Quentin, and they kind of look like, uh oh, like if he reads that in the book, it's going to be a problem. And of course, and now just kind of talk about favorite scenes. Of course, when the guys are playing cards.
Poker. Yep.
Oh my God, that's like a great scene in that movie. And there are just so many. I just The Best Man is awesome. But I do want to for the comments and for everybody to weigh in on. And again, time goes so fast. I can't believe it's already. We've been talking about it, and we could go probably 3 hours talking about this movie. But one of the questions I want to throw out to everybody. Okay, so um, from the perspective of once Lance realizes what is in Harper's book and what really happened, then what about with Lance? So from Lance's perspective, if you were in his shoes, could you forgive Mia, most importantly, because literally it's the night before the wedding when he finds out.
Yes.
Could you forgive Mia knowing that Lance had been a player, right? He says in the movie that he thinks marriage is going to curb his appetite for more women. But he had been cheating on her, and all through their college years and all that, and we can only assume possibly after their college years. And so, if you were in Lance's perspective, since he had done wrong for so long, and this was one mess up. Now it was with his best friend, that adds a whole bunch to it. But what about Lance forgiving Mia? Do you kind of have to be like, okay, I've done my own dirt, so she just did dirt. And then from another perspective, and then Lance and his buddy Harper.
Right.
How do you forgive your best friend? You're like, man, if somebody's going to do it with my girl, it's my best friend.
Well, I always say you have to start at the beginning. This was Lance's problem. Lance has to learn to forgive himself.
Okay.
Once he forgives himself, because Lance is the start of the problem.
Okay.
Lance started this in college by being the superstar running back, and got all the attention, was sleeping with all the ladies and everything.
Right.
And then he initially looked at Mia as something to conquer. It wasn't to, he saw her and fell in love. No, she was a good friend of Harper's, and Harper tried to even tell
he didn't want him. He didn't even want them to get together.
No, leave that one alone.
He said she's a good girl,
and he didn't do that, and he ended up falling in love with her.
Yeah.
But once Lance can forgive himself, and if he was to get out of his rage and anger, he could see that, what, at the end of the day, this is something that I started.
Right.
Now, I don't know if that's realistic or not, but my take on it is Lance created this whole thing, and he needed to forgive himself. And once he was able to do that, then he could forgive Harper, which eventually, if you go from best man number 1, then you get to number 2. They eventually get to that point. But even in number 2, there's still that issue that goes on. But
definitely. And then, so that's one for the comments, and weigh in and let us know what you think. Go on to the Let It Flow Facebook page, or go on to We Married Now. Can we talk?
Can we talk?
Or either of our Facebook pages, and tell us, like, what would it be hard for you to forgive if you were Lance, and whether it's the male or the female, perspective, could you forgive? And then also, Robin. Okay, so Robin needs to forgive Harper in a quick amount of time, because when she gets there for the wedding, and remember, he has the black eye, sees her at the airport, and he has to just tell her the whole thing. And remember, she was about to be out, just like you said earlier.
Correct.
She was about to be like, oh, I'm getting back on the plane. Remember, this is 1999, so you really didn't have all the stuff that people. She probably had full size hair products, a big lotion. Remember when we could do all that stuff? No. Yeah. And so in 1999, she could have just gone back over to the ticket counter and got another plane ride home. So she was about to be out, and he kind of begged her to stay. Yeah, he begged her to stay. Yeah. So, but ladies and guys, look at it from both perspectives. How easy is it to forgive? And I think that's another interesting dynamic, because Harper didn't really cheat. he didn't cheat, but he wanted to, and she asked him about that. But you
Correct.
wanted to,
Correct.
and he says, yeah. I mean, he either he doesn't actually say yeah, or he just kind of goes silent. So she knows. So it's like, yeah, man, you. And she was already a little nervous about him going to the wedding reception, to the
Yes.
wedding, right?
Hmm.
And where their relationship stood because of Jordan.
Because of
In the
Jordan.
very
Yes.
first, I forgot that the movie kind of opens up like that,
Yeah.
where they have a discussion in the car in the first couple minutes of the movie, and she's like, "Now your icon of a woman is Jordan, what he named Jordan in the book."
Right.
Um,
Right.
so so anyway, so if that were the case, and ladies again or guys, but ladies, if you were in a situation where okay, your boo thing um, is just putting themselves in a compromising position, and even they put a lot of stuff at risk, and she kind of
Correct.
lays down the law to them, like you put our relationship at risk, you put Lance and Mia's relationship at risk, you put, I mean, like she just lays them out, which is good and really clarifies everything. So would love to hear comments about that too.
And
Definitely.
another aspect of the movie is what I thought about was this whole movie is about forgiveness.
Oh,
If you think
dang,
about
that's
it,
right.
throughout the movie, uh, Harper is asking for forgiveness. Lance is definitely asking for forgiveness. He
Right.
talks to God about what he's done, and throughout the movie, as you see, Lance is really spiritual. But you ask the question, how are you so spiritual, but you're such a womanizer?
Yeah.
You have this temper,
Yeah.
that type of thing. So
Yeah.
that's something to look at. But for me, the whole movie was based on
You're
forgiveness
right.
through
You're
all
right.
these relationships. So that's another question, in real life relationship. How are you at forgiving?
Wow.
Are you
That's deep.
able to forgive,
Yeah.
or do you just sustain? Do you just, I'm not really forgiving. I'm still harping on that. I'm still carrying that, but I'm dealing day to day. Or do you actually forgive? Not
Right.
saying forget, but forgive.
Right.
There's a difference. There is a difference. So
Definitely.
I think some relationships, you you definitely don't forget, but you definitely don't forgive either. From a previous relationship into a new one. We always say you carrying over baggage from an old one to a new one.
Right.
It's actually forgiveness. I didn't forgive in the first one, and I'm not forgiving in this one, and it just carries on.
That's
But
right.
once you learn how to forgive, uh, then you start the healing
That's
process.
right.
So in that movie, once Lance and could get to that point, once Harper could get to that point, even Quentin had to forgive his father.
Right.
His
Right.
father was the big businessman, and Harper kept you know getting on Quentin about
Yeah.
did your father are you doing the thing with your father? He wants you to be in the business, and Quentin wasn't trying to do that, and
Right.
his mother had passed away, so that left Quentin in that situation of abusing women in the sense of
He didn't care about. He
he
didn't.
didn't really
Yeah.
care
He
about their
didn't have any.
feelings.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody caught that in the movie because it was just a small part, but that was part of it.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
again, looking at this movie,
Woo.
and you have to look at it. You have to watch the movie like 5 or 6 times to keep getting the little nuggets
Yeah.
in it. So
Yeah.
uh,
Wow. Well, we could go on and on.
yes,
This is definitely a classic. If there's anyone out there again that hasn't seen it, please, it's The Best Man. There
yep,
is a 1 and 2, but it's the original. It is literally on Netflix right now. So come on, everybody. Most everyone has a Netflix account, or you're using somebody else's Netflix account. I'm just saying. So anyway,
just
just look
yes,
it up. Definitely watch it. It goes so fast. It has great moments,
yes,
funny. You're like suspense. What's really going to happen? And then definitely all the different dynamics we talked about. So definitely on give us your comments. Let us know what
Yes.
some of your favorite scenes, favorite characters,
Yes.
favorite relationships. Hey, what
And
about meeting
who are you
people?
in the movie? What character are you in the
Oh,
movie? I
woo.
think I'm more Harper in the movie.
Okay.
I think he has more of my traits, or I have more of his traits.
Okay.
But looking at that movie, which is again, is spread out. You have female characters, you
Yep.
have male characters. What character are you
Okay.
in the movie?
Okay. I'd have to think about it, but
The
that's a
best
great
man.
question. Okay.
And before we end next Sunday, our episode will be who does it better. Example: who does it better in the kitchen? Him, her, he, who, whomever. Who does the laundry better? Who washes dishes better? Who does it better?
Okay.
That's what I want to know. Who does it better?
Woo. Okay.
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 So thank you very much for
yes,
watching.
thanks for watching, everybody.
Thanks for
we went a little
listening.
long, but we could go on and on about the movie. Don't forget
Yeah.
to drop some comments and let us know what you think about The Best Man. Favorite scene, favorite quote, favorite relationship. Who are you? Are you Lance, Harper, Jordan, Quentin, Robin, Julian, Shelby, Mia, or Candy?
Who are you?
Yep.
Exactly. Well, thanks for tuning in.
Bye.
Till next Sunday. Later.
Bye.